Hello there, welcome back. I'm going to talk about two Alan Clarke movies, which are Christine and Road. These are both an hour long each. I've been watching Alan Clarke movies. He made all these things to the BBC, so they were hour long movies, and because I would just broadcast over like for a 9 to 10 slot or something, so he had limitations of how long he could make the film. So I'm just going to talk about two rather than just one to try and make an interesting video. But the thing about Alan Clarke was he was a BBC director from the 60s to the 80s, and he died in like 1990 from cancer. So he had a really good, respectable career, but he was the disrespectful auteur of BBC. He made the films that get banned and got into trouble all the time. He was banned from the BBC bar for bad behaviour. He was the enfant terrible of the BBC. He was also the genius of the BBC. He was the guy that made the great BBC films. I think a lot of people from his era who would be his competition in this area, I agree that he made the best films of this era. He was the best one. So I'm not bashing anybody. I mean, most of them say that he was the best. And so I'm going to talk about two of his films from the late era, which is Christine and Road. So Christine is a film about drug addicts, but it's not drug addicts where you normally have them. Drug addicts in most films are like unemployed people who live in some broken down house and have no life, and that's it. That's the lot in life. That's it. And you get depressed watching them, and you don't want to watch it, and you hear there's about a drug addict and you never watch the film because you can tell it's depressing. I mean, Requiem for a Dream is the kind of standard bearer for this, depressing, film with no redeemable features beyond the style. I saw that film once and I never want to see it again. Not because it's bad, but just kind of dull. This film actually looks at the middle class kids, the kids with good parents who live in a good house, who have a future. They could go and get a job somewhere, they go to school, the parents take them to school, they'll have an education. They should be the people going to university, they should be the people who are maybe get a trade and have a good life, and are drug addicts. And they're going from house to house, all these middle class houses with good clothes, and all they can do with their lives is shoot up. That's what they live for. And Christine's the person going house to house with the drugs, and she's getting money for the drugs. She buys the drugs, takes her friends, gets paid, and it's a supplier, plus she's also the user. And there's no joy in her life, and there's no joy in anyone else's life. They live very dull lives. It's that frustrating thing of a middle class life of, you've got everything, you've nothing to complain about, but you're just bored to tears in the house. You're bored to tears with everybody. You can't really complain about it, but there's nothing there that interests you. And their way of coping is drugs. They don't find a hobby, they don't find anything else, they find drugs just to zone out and dull whatever needs dulled in their lives. The drugs do it for them. And instead of doing a melodrama about it all you're doing is going from one house to the other, to another. You're seeing these characters repeatedly. You see it going from the same houses again and again. These same characters. They try and be interested in each other, but they're bored with each other. They don't like each other very much. They're meant to be friends, but they don't really like each other. It's like the people you were forced to deal with because you were born in the same area, but you have nothing in common. There's no connection that would make you go and do something interesting in your life. The best way to deal with these people is to take drugs with them so you don't have to deal with them much, because you just can't face life. And that's something that goes on in real life a lot more than people say. Just the cliche of drugs is it's a lower class thing. It's for people who are unemployed and that's all they've got is drugs. But in fact, there's a lot of drug addicts who are professionals, who are middle class, who still need the drugs to get through life. And in this one, it's like kids who need the drugs to get through life. They can't even reach the adulthood before they need the drugs to get through their existence. They just see nothing in like modern world that's worthy. And that's a major problem in life, and no one's going to deal with it. And this film actually just shows it by showing going from one place to the other, and that's a part of existence for these people. And it's really powerful because it doesn't moralise, it doesn't do anything, it just says this is what happens. This is a drug addict's life. It's all about shooting up, nothing else matters, and it doesn't matter where you come from. So if he'd done it in a DOS house with grown-ups, it would have been boring, but because he does it with kids who are teenagers who are in a middle class life, it makes it fascinating. You watch all the details, you're much more implicit because the things that affect them is the things that affect you if you grow up in a decent house. You know, the boredom, the miscommunication, the disconnection, everything that can make a person depressed in life that you see nowadays where a lot of people are very depressed, just they can't cope with life, and they can't place what's causing the problem, but they know they can't connect with people. But it's something that's gone through life since the beginning of humanity. You know, people take drugs, people drink, people do whatever they do to get through, because life is much more tedious than they'd expect. And I try to fill a gap somewhere, and this place is drugs. But it could be anything. So it's a wonderful film. It's hard to talk about because the film is the experience. It's the experience of watching these people and seeing all the details of things you recognise and feeling like that would never be me. Honestly, I'm not interested in drugs. I've got more addictions like movies. But everyone's got their addictions. But there's enough to feel a complicated relationship with them, even though their addiction is different from what yours is. But it still feels it's partly about drugs, it's partly about middle class existence and a lack of hope and a lack of drive, which is something that affects the Western world quite a bit now. People have got it easy and they don't know what to do with their lives, so they're depressed. You know, they just can't find a reason for going on. So it's a wonderful film. It's much more layered than the initial idea of a girl and drugs is. But it's a film you see and experience. It's on the Alan Clarke box set, which is this big box set where you get all his BBC films. It's brilliant, there's tons of extras. Everything's been remastered so you can see everything as good as it'll ever be. Especially films made in the BBC that time where they didn't have that much money, but these have been remastered, there's a lot of care for them. It's really worth seeing. The whole box set is really worth seeing. If you have a chance, if you have money, get it. It's brilliant. Okay, the next one is Road. Road is actually about unemployment. And actually it's set on a estate which is crumbling and people are... no one's got a job, no one's got a future. And it's based on a play by Jim Cartwright, and the thing Alan Clarke does really well is he externalises the angst in a way that makes it relatable. He finds visual ways to tell you something that if you were stuck watching a theatre production, a traditional theatre production, you get bored by and you'd think that's kind of obvious. So he uses the space he's got to actually create something unique. So in this thing, he has people walking. They're walking from their house to the centre where there's a party. It's the cheapest party possible. It's everyone's night out. But everyone looks depressed at the party. No one wants to be there. No one likes each other that much. People are trying to hit off each other and get off one another, but and there's old people there as well. So there's lots of tension that's been on for years that no one, everywhere, it just feels grungy and every bit of the landscape is dead. There's no life, everything's crumbling, everyone's house has nothing in it. It's very basic. no wallpaper, no nothing. It just feels like, you know, the world's almost going nuclear. And these people are just trying to survive. And there are different reactions to it. And they're walking, everyone's walking. And when someone's not walking and they're talking, you really focus on them. And somebody's walking and talking, and it's bravado. And it's also them trying to get out of the situation, trying to show some sort of life. But it's painful because for them, because they know they're lying to themselves, or they know they're maybe being truthful. It doesn't mean anything to anybody because no one cares about them. And they look around the world and people in their world don't care about them. It's just they're just another person who has the same problems that they have, and why should I feel sorry for you when I have the same problems? So it's a very tough world, very nasty world, where people are using each other a lot. But it's just because they're in a situation which is like the late 80s, where a lot of industries have shut down, people are in states where there's no work, there's no chance of work, no one's got a chance to get a job. People are just depressed. So you have some people, David Thewlis' character, he's pretty much a shut in, he's starving himself, trying to feel something different. And his girlfriend is coming in to see him, and she's like against overthinking things through. Her family said don't think things through too much, you will just get depressed, it'll make you ill, so try and be cheerful. And he's rebelling against that, and it becomes that painful thing of the family, that kind of traditional working class idea of don't think too much, just survive, against this someone who thinks too much. And it's like this clash between them. Then there's other people who try and use nostalgia, like what things used to be and what things could be again, maybe, but even though he knows it's never going to go back that way. Then there's other characters who are young, who want to go out and party, but they feel used by the people who they've gotten off with in the past, and they feel uninterested. You know, with most of the people they meet, they just don't feel there's a connection. And you see them clashing with each other. There's other people who have little misadventures and have speeches, talking to the camera as they walk, and you see their angst and anger at the world. And there are the people who are in their lives and who they cannot deal with anymore, they're ready to kill them. And it's that idea of working class life, where there's no work and there's no hope. But there's no sentimentality either. The film doesn't say, oh, poor them. It's like, this is what it is. That's it. It's very stylized. The dialogue feels very stylized because it's written as a play. And Jim Cartwright's style has been parodied by The Lear Gentleman really well. But because it's well directed by Alan Clarke and there's a visual style to the world, you get the emotions, the actual emotions, rather than the stylization. So there's a great scene in the end where there's four people pretty much yelling at each other in this house, which has this dark red background. It's also chipped away. It's almost like the room used to be red, but everything's chipped away now. It's just almost feels like blood behind them as they yell at each other frustrations. And it's a really powerful scene because it really gets out the idea of these people are just fucked. They're just doomed. There's no way out. And that's where they end the film. And again, Alan Clarke, he's just trying to show the situation. He doesn't throw anything in that's obvious. He pares it down, because it's only an hour. He pares with everything you don't need. It's just what you need. This is what you need in this story. I'm going to deliver that. It's an hour long, that's it. That's what really makes him powerful, because every scene feels intense and you're watching, and you're watching every little detail, because every detail counts, because he's got an hour and he's going to make sure he uses the whole hour right. And that's what's great about him. He really uses his time wisely, because he's got a limited time. And you wish more directors had that, because some directors just ramble on. I mean, there are great 3-hour films, there's terrific ones where they use the time really well because they're going to do an epic story. There's other ones, sometimes directors just sort of self-indulgent. This is an hour and it feels much longer. Not longer, it feels the impact of something much longer, because everything counts and you really feel tense watching it, because it's affecting, because you're focused in on everything. So it's a wonderful film. Alan Clarke's a genius. See his films, they're really worth it. If you can afford the box set and get it, it's brilliant. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this. This is the last video for the week. I'll be back next week with some more. So I hope you enjoyed what I did this week. Okay, bye.